Esther is going to do the presentation. Esther and I are going to do the presentation, and we'll go ahead and I know everybody's muted right now, and that's for us to be able to just make sure the quality of this, because we're recording this, is good, and so and make sure that we get through it. But as we go along, you can add your questions. You can add your questions as we go along, and we'll do questions at the very end. But as you think of them, please pop them in to. I'm not sure if you guys can see the Q&A function. If not, then just use the chat. And then we'll go over all questions at the end, because some of your questions may be answered as we go through the presentation. So, okay, cool. So you can use, you can add your questions in there, and then we'll, like I said, we'll get to them at the very end. And so I guess we will get started, and I appreciate everybody being here and working with us on this. We've actually not ever used the webinar feature for us at AYSO for our Microsoft Teams. Funny story, we didn't even know we had it until about a month and a half ago. We were using Zoom. So this is obviously through our Teams, our business account, but we're going to talk about Microsoft Teams communities today and that. But so I appreciate everybody that is here. It's a good group. We are recording this, so people, I know I've received emails today, people that couldn't join us, that had signed up, or people who just couldn't join. We are recording this. This will be sent out, and then we'll embed it on the landing page that we actually have created on our volunteer site. And we will be hosting another webinar, most likely in the next month or so, for those that couldn't join us today. So I don't know if I've introduced myself. I'm Yvonne Lara. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for AYSO, and I'll let Esther introduce herself.
Sure. I am Esther Bergen. I am a product manager at Microsoft. I work on Microsoft Teams, and I also run the customer program, and have the pleasure of working with Yvonne and folks at AYSO to help build a better product.
Awesome. So yeah, so we want to go through this deck today. I don't know if you want to take the next slide. Is that the overview? Yeah. So today we're going to really talk about the AYSO and Microsoft partnership, Microsoft Teams partnership. And Esther and I are going to kind of tag team this whole thing and walk through what it means for us. And then she's going to really walk through what the product is and how it can work for you, and the options that you have. And so we'll talk about what Communities is in Microsoft Teams, how to use it, and how to get more information and help. So we'll kind of go over that. So, and I do apologize to everybody that has heard my voice maybe at expos. I did have the flu for like a million years and laryngitis, so I'm just getting everything back. So I apologize if I get a little bit coffee. So so I really wanted to explain what our Microsoft Teams and AYSO partnership is. So last year, seems like a million years ago now. I can't believe that was last fall. AYSO and Microsoft started a conversation, and the idea is that Microsoft Teams really wanted to learn about what the pain points were in being a volunteer and running local programming. And so they started a 3-month focus group research that invited members from our community. So I'm not sure if some of you that were on here were invited to those focus groups, but really talked to different people that were in our AYSO membership to talk about things that would be really helpful, maybe things that are frustrating, pain points, where we could find efficiencies. And they truly worked and took all of your feedback in, and were able to input that in creating this Microsoft Teams for Communities. And so we're really pleased that they spent this intentional time speaking to our members and really understanding how this tool could really be used to make your job in life easier. And it's just another option for you to use. It's nothing about it is mandatory. Nothing about it is making you do anything. It's just a platform for free that would allow you to run your regions, run your teams, help with communication, and hopefully make your life easier and not have you pulling your hair out. So we're going to kind of walk through what exactly the communities is, because I know people know what Microsoft Teams is maybe, but the communities aspect is a tad different than stuff that you use at your work. So Esther, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, sure. So we'll first go into what is communities and teams, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how you can use it as different individuals within AYSO. And Yvonne, talking about the partnership, it has just been a delight working with AYSO since, what was it, October? Getting to learn more about your organization, all of the hard work that volunteers do. And we're so thrilled about the partnership and what's been going on. You'll notice also that I'm wearing a nifty jersey, if you see my screen. So you'll see more about that, and probably hear more about that from Yvonne and folks at AYSO for the fall season. So we're thrilled about that as well. So communities and teams, you're probably familiar with Teams about as a communication app, maybe that you use for work, maybe you've used it in your personal lives as well. But why communities and why now? So when we started this journey, we realized that post-pandemic, people really want to come together again. You want to come together in a way that's very meaningful. And what we want to do at Microsoft is really bring together all of our capabilities that we have for productivity and help you really do more. So the mission at Microsoft is to help everyone on the planet achieve more and do more. And we think that we can help communities do more, and that communities are things that are essential for humans, right? There's this fundamental need of belonging that people have. You probably see it within AYSO. People want to belong to a team, they want to belong to a group, they want to be part of something. And we think that we can help people be a better part of something and help you focus on what matters by taking away some of the day-to-day logistics and some of the stuff that you don't like to do. So some of the pain points we've uncovered through our research sessions and by listening is that there are too many apps out there. There's an app to do everything, and it gets really overwhelming and is quite tiring, to be frank. It's inefficient. And so what is a place where you can pull this all together? The reach is unreliable. So like if you send a message on one app, you don't know if you're going to get it on the other, or if people are actually going to hear the message or understand if the practice has been canceled or if you had an update to a waiver form. It's hard to know. Also, information is not organized. It's really easy to lose track of things season over season. Who knows if it's on this person's file system, or maybe it's in the folder, that's in someone's trunk. Who knows where these documents are? And it's really hard to keep track of them. And then also it's hard to make sure that there is continuity as you change from one leader to another. It's really hard to organize information. And then lastly, like this is something that's on the tops of our minds at in this world where you want a place that you can have sensitive information, but then also trust that your information is private and secure and safe. So Teams hopes to address some of these pain points by bringing communities together and helping you run your group seamlessly and safely for free. So there are no ads in Teams. We're not charging you for this, and you have access to all of these capabilities right now. There's an easy sign up. You can use your email address or phone number to sign in to Teams and have access to communities. Anyone could have access to communities. You do not need a work account. You can use your phone numbers. This is the place where you can post messages, share photos, videos, files, all in one place. Everyone can connect over one thread and one conversation. There are productivity aspects like events. We're bringing in polls, sign-up sheets, and to-do lists, which will help you coordinate your activities for your groups. Within our communities, within Teams, you have unlimited time meetings. So this is not a 45-minute meeting limit that you have to pay for more time. You can have very long meetings, up to 36 hours actually right now for free, which hopefully you're not having 36-hour meetings, I'm hoping not, for up to 100 people at a time within Teams communities. We let you organize publish events for in-person, hybrid, or hybrid groups to the calendar. Individuals can also save these events down to their personal calendar. And lastly, we have a concept of safety. So we have automatic message scanning for inappropriate content, inappropriate images, and also give you some security to remove bad actors from your community if they violate your guidelines or if they violate the Microsoft guidelines, which is at a higher level. Right now, we're available on iOS, Android, so both mobile devices. Also, iOS is iPad as well, and Android has tablets, and Windows 11. And we're bringing communities and teams to other platforms later this year. So we are going to dive into some use cases for different roles in AYSO. So regional commissioner, coach, and then parent. So how do you use this as a regional commissioner? So you can have different groups as a regional commissioner where you can connect those individuals. Say, a community for your region, maybe a place for you to connect within your area with the area directors, or even a place to get updates from AYSO. You can connect with coaches, refs, volunteers. You can share announcements, and you can share photos, videos, links, and files. This is the place where you can, keep a schedule, keep a calendar, so everyone is kept up to date for the events and then also the changes. And then also you can also store content like files and links, and those remain season over season. As a community owner, you can add other members to the group, invite members, add the roster, but then you could promote members to owners so that they can help you manage and moderate the group as well. I think folks can see the video, right? So in the video, we're just showing a few different groups, some content that our coach, Ted Lasso here, has in the group. He's able to post links, he's able to post images. If he goes to the bubbles at the top, he can see a collection of those things from across all of the messages and access those at any time. You'll see events there. You can see an aggregate of the events across within that community and then across communities as well. So if you need help here, we really want you to get set up in a way that's sustainable and then also in a way that's comfortable for you. So we have an onboarding email address. So make a note of it. And then I think, Yvonne, we can send out the deck later maybe so folks have these resources as well. There's an email address, teamsonboarding@outlook.com. So send us a note if you want to get set up. You can send us your regional membership and we'll get it set up for you. We'll send out all the invites. And even if you send us your calendar, we can get all of your events imported. So you're all set to go and to get up and running from the get-go.
Yeah, so can I, and so yes, we will be able to share this deck. And I've got a couple questions about that. This will be recorded. We'll send this out. We'll send their deck out. And we actually have a landing page that has all sorts of information we'll talk about the end. But I would say as this and the regional commissioner just kind of remind people. So when Esther was saying you can create a region one, then you can actually create you could create then another community, say as a regional commissioner, that's just for your coaches and that you communicate straight with them, or just all your division coordinators and that you're talking with them. So you can create a bigger one and then, that's an overreaching one, and then have smaller ones that help you divide up who you're speaking to. Which I think is really helpful. And people, you can choose who's in each of those communities, and people likewise can choose what community they join. So it makes it much easier, and it's super easy to toggle in between all of your communities. And then we'll talk about that later. But as an RC, I just think that's super important for you guys to realize you just don't have to make one region one. You can make a region one that's the overarching, and then make these individual ones that helps you speak directly to the people you want to speak to.
Awesome. So let's go to the next slide, which is more about how to use this as a coach. And you can see here that our coach, I think I call him Sam Soccer Fan, he has 4 different communities here. He has his region. He's part of this, Microsoft Teams enthusiast community, which is nothing to do with AYSO. He's also has his League 26 San Marcos, and then he's in Coach's Corner. So a bunch of coaches across AYSO come together. So as a coach, you can create a community for your team or league. You can also invite parents to join through a link or QR code. You add your upcoming practices and events. We'll show you in the video in a second. Share announcements, photos, video, links, and files, similar to the regional commissioner, and schedule events. Likewise, if you need help, the same thing. Teams onboarding at outlook.com. We're happy to, even set up your team roster, or if you have a detail export from Sports Connect, we can get that set up for you too to help have your events for your season. So looking at the video, Sam Soccer Fan, he gets these messages from the regional commissioner in the San Marcos region. He's able to see the content. He also has League 26 where he has some content as well. He posts things, posts events. He's able to look at all of his events across the community and schedule more. He has all of his photos from all of the posts, not just one. It's all summarized at the top. And he's able to see his members and then also create links, QR codes for others to join. And so the coach maybe invites a parent. And so what does that look like? For parents within AYSO, and what could they do? They can have their own communities, but they can also join the AYSO communities. They can see all the events your team has in one place, access all of those files and forms that you've posted, relive the memories through the photos that they've posted or that you've posted and videos from various practices, games, and events. They get the updates when you provide the updates. They're able to connect with other parents and kids on the team, and then also direct message you for details. So here's an example of Krista Schutz. This is actually my family. You can see my 2 sons here, which they're so much bigger now than when I took this photo. But here's an example of, Krista getting an invite via text message and then creating her account here in Teams and logging in. You'll see that, she signs in here and then adds her password and then is able to log in and be directly added to the community from that link. She's going to enter the password. I think this was me trying to remember the password when I did the demo. I don't know about you, but I could never remember my passwords. Never, ever. But anyways, that was a success there. She ends up joining and she's dropped into the communities where she sees the league itself, and she's able to see all of the updates from her team. Some of the photos from the practice on Saturday. She sees welcome messages. She's able to respond to the welcome message. And then also able to see, for example, where the practice on Saturday is going to be. As a parent, she could say that she's going. So now the coach is able to see which parents are going. So this is an example of, Krista managing her calendar, seeing various events across multiple communities, as well as content within the community that she was added by the coach. So it's keeping everyone organized and on the same place, all in one place. So how do you find this, right? Where do you find this right now? Teams and communities and teams are available in 2 places. On mobile, you could scan your phone right now and scan this QR code and download it from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on if you're on iOS or Android, and also on Windows 11 desktop. This is Windows 11 only. At this time, we're going to bring it to Windows 10 and previous versions. But if you go on Windows 11, if you have it, there's this little chat icon at the bottom. It looks like a little movie camera. If you click on that, there's this thing that pops up from the bottom, and there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. If you hit that button, you'll be brought to a full screen where you can see communities. as well as messages and calendar and activity. The communities are there on Windows 11. So Mac, web, and earlier Windows are coming soon. We're working hard to get those out, but right now, mobile and Windows 11 are the places where you can access these. And some of you might use Teams for work. I don't know if we have raise of hand in webinar, do we? If you see raise your hand if you use Teams for
Yeah,
work.
we do. They do.
Yes. Look how many people. I see at least 8, right? So it looks like 8 people raised their hand, maybe, whoa, 10. There's even more. So many people are raising their hands. Look, raise the roof, raise the hands. So a lot of you are familiar with Teams for Work. And you're probably wondering, like, okay, I use this for work, but where do I access it for AYSO? And, is there overlap? And I can answer those questions for you. So on mobile, where you would access this is you would go to your picture in the upper left, and then you would go to settings. So this opens this panel, the setting panel. And if you scroll down, there's a thing called accounts and orgs, and you'll see there's an option to add an account. If you hit plus there, you can sign in with a phone number or email address. It'll say like use another account if it has account signed in, or you can create one for free and create a personal account. And so that's a way to get into the personal version of Teams where you can access your communities. On Windows 11 desktop, if you search for Microsoft Teams in the start menu or in the search bar at the bottom, you'll see an option for 2 versions of Microsoft Teams. This is a little confusing, but this is the world we live in at this time. There's one that says for work and school, and that's your work account. And then there's the other one that says Microsoft Teams app. And Microsoft Teams app is the one that has communities. And so if you sign into that one with your personal account, you'll be able to have access to communities. Now you're probably thinking like, okay, work, life, can my work see my life stuff and can my life see my work stuff? What's the boundary? Are they, on the same systems? And the answer is they're completely separate. And so anything that you have in your personal account or your personal org is completely separate from your work. And there's no communication between the two at this point. So rest assured, like work cannot see life and life cannot see work either. So how do you sign up and how do you get going? I've shared this QR code a few times already in the presentation. So to download the app, you want to go to the App Store here. Once you download it, you'll be prompted to sign in or sign up with a personal account. You'll want to enter your phone or email address or Skype ID if you have one of those, but phone or email address works fine. You'll enter a password or enter the password that you have, and you'll be landed in the app where you'll be able to either see communities that you're a member of or create a community. So to make your first community, this is what it'll look like if you don't have any. You can choose create from scratch or pick a template here. We have different templates like sport, youth organization, projects, business, etc. There's a few of them. I'll give you a little bit of a pro tip. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. We're just giving you some ideas for different types of communities you can create. Picking one does not lock you into certain functionality. They're all equal. So you pick one of these and then you create the community. You can add an image, you add a title, a description, some guidelines and rules around, the type of behavior you want to see in that community. We now have a setting that allows you to require approval to join. So if you would like to vet all of the members before they are added, you're able to do that. And we'll be adding some more settings this summer as well. So this is a little bit more detail around like ways to customize your community upon the creation process. So adding different images, you can, the description and the guidelines. And so then after you create your first community, you'll want to invite people. You could do this through the flow or through the settings page. people to invite. You could invite them by syncing your contacts on your phone or entering in phone numbers and email addresses in the screen or in settings. You also can share your community via a link or via a QR code. So in the following slides, we'll have some communities that you can join. You can join later as well via the QR code. And the QR code is like so simple for members to join. I think some of the folks on this call were actually at one of the expos where I was, and we were signing people up for the giveaways with the QR code. So you'll remember scanning that there. And once you have your community set up, you can distribute the QR code or the link or add people directly and get your roster going. If you make a community for your region, your team, whatever, remember to add this email address here to that community. It's teamscustomertracker@outlook.com. This can be your first member. This will allow us to mark your community as an official AYSO community. And we'll also be able to identify, how many people have joined from AYSO. As soon as we get the needed metadata from that email address, we'll remove ourselves from your community, so you don't have to worry about us seeing any content. But please add us first as one of your first members so we can get that metadata. So I know this is a lot of information and we'll go through Q&A, but we have a few resources available for you. So we have an AYSO support community. This is that QR code that I mentioned as far as sharing it. So if you take a picture of this with your phone and log in, you'll be dropped into that community right away. This is the place where we have resources for you. You have access to me and my team to ask any questions and to get help as you continue to onboard your orgs. We also have a volunteer resources page on the AYSO volunteer resources. This has a lot of information about how-tos, how to get started, also some more details about the different types of use cases that you have for teams within the AYSO org structure. We have how-to guides as well. If you were at the expo, you might have gotten a copy of these on how to get started, how to create the community, how to log in with the work and life account, etc. That's here at AKAMS/how-to-teams. And then lastly, we are here for you. So email us at teamsonboarding@outlook.com. We're happy to send you resources, get you started. If you want help creating a group, send us over the roster. We're happy to create that for you. Anything you need, please let us know. And with that, I can open it up to Q&A.
We do have several. We have a lot of questions.
Good. I love
Yes.
questions. I got lots of answers.
Yeah, I'll just start with the easy one, some of the easy ones, and then we'll get into the more complex ones. So the issue with the email accounts, obviously for us here at work at AYSO, we can't sign into our communities one with our ayso.org because we're already on the work one. So I use my personal account. But for our regions, a lot of them have ayso1540.org emails that is just for AYSO, not work. And so those should be able to work, right? Because I think some of them are having some issues with those.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only way a work account is a work account is if it's officially like a Teams tenant. So unless you've purchased Teams with that email address, you will be able to log in as a personal account.
Okay. And if there is issues with that, you can email Esther or the onboarding Outlook to go through where there might be an issue there.
Absolutely.
Somebody asked, can you go back once? Oh,
I think this is the slide, right?
Yeah, that's a slide. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I saw it come
Yeah.
through. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
And then, okay, so let's see. We'll go from, I'm going to go to the Q&A really quick. So we have several questions in here about about Google. So I know we have one particular person Adam, I know that you have a lot of questions in here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to unmute Adam and have him ask those questions just, all right,
Sure.
just a little bit easier.
And I
Right.
just put the email in chat for
Okay.
the tracker. So I know that was the one that was people were looking for.
Perfect. Adam, I've given you the ability to unmute yourself. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, great.
There you
Thanks.
go. Mhm.
Okay. Hi, I'm from Region 418 in Chicago, and
Hi.
we are a large region with a large board, 2,500 members, 30 people on our board, so a lot of communication. And we have, over the years, embedded pretty solidly in the Google Workspace for Nonprofit platform. So we do all of our email communications and conferencing and so forth over that. So for us, this is a bit of a disruption, but I'm actually a fan of Teams and have used it in my work environments. And, you know, so I presented a bunch of questions. I don't want to sort of bombard it, but, you know, ultimately, I feel like this is an excellent opportunity for pushing information from national to the regions and then seamlessly sharing that information at the regional level, at the board level, and also in membership communities, wrapping communities, and so forth. Simple things such as, you know, the handbook or referee policies or weather policies or things like that, right? So I get it. I'm a complete supporter of the seamless sort of flow of information through, but this seems to be a communication tool that runs sort of contrary in some ways with many of the efforts that are currently in place in the procedures in place using Sports Connect system, and you know, the registration of every single member and volunteer, those databases of who's included and who's not included in communication. So I have a lot of questions about, like, how do we integrate this so we don't have to run and manage the authorities, you know, the approval systems of parallel systems, right? If you know, who should be getting what information, if that's already organized in Sports Connect to some extent, how do we transfer those, mirror those same authorities into teams? And as much as Teams is about communicating information, that just this administrative function of needing an email system, needing centralized storage for documents and files and all that in a region, does Teams do that similarly to what Google Workspace does with Gmail and with G Drive and all that stuff? So uh, I'm sort of feeling like this is just falling out of the sky, and how are we supposed to catch it?
Well, first, I'll just say, Adam, obviously, none of this is mandatory for you to switch over. Obviously, like, you could, keep all the stuff you're doing and not wanting to make it in any form or fashion cumbersome for you. If you have a system that's working, that's great. You know what I mean? So I want you to be able to, continue to use that. And then in regards to Sports Connect, obviously, I know people using Sports Connect, but a lot of people are not using Sports Connect and all the functionalities that live within that. So when we were looking into something that could, help again deal with or help with pain points that were being expressed by regions that are not as integrated. You don't have a robust use on the Google Workspace for nonprofits. That this was something that allows for the document. Yes, so all the file sharing, the photo sharing, like all of those type of things, and then being able to set up who is and who isn't allowed into these communities. You have to be invited in. So that is something that if you wanted to take those databases that you had in Sports Connect and make them something where it's all here and easy, and it's a place where the right people are invited to the right communities, and that they're the only people showing up to those meetings that you want to have and getting those documents that you want to have. That's really kind of the idea here. So it's not something to, replace what you have in the Google Workspace if you don't want to do that. But this is something that would, again, help identify for the management and streamlining of document filing. So all files, if you loaded files into a particular community, that would stay in that community. It's not going everywhere. And then it actually has a file folder at the very top. So people just need to go to the very top of that community, click and find that file. The same goes for events and whatnot. And so you could export whole databases from Sports Connect, and then be able to have those people particularly invited or loaded up into that community specifically, for that information to, be specific to them. But again, I'm not sure if that answers your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I completely appreciate the fact that this is an opt-in program.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think there's huge benefits to a system like this, right? I mean, I've seen and actually created 2 years ago a mock-up in Teams of, how we might operate as a Teams environment where it flows right through to Nationals web pages, and Nationals resources right into our things, so that there's no hyperlinks or anything. It's just complete, like it's part of our environment, right? But it's always updated and current. But the challenge is for us is, like, we have a lot of members and we completely rely on Sports Connect. And so if our schedules and our teams and our field assignments and all the notifications to members and the calendaring to the member mobile platforms and all that are in the Sports Connect Game Changer environment and Mojo, as that's even changing today, how when you talk about schedules and communications with team members and coaches being here, it just seems like a completely parallel environment that has to be managed, and a huge effort to coordinate that information is consistent across what's happening in Sports Connect and what might be happening in Teams. If you're trying to, I'm just a little confused on, what are we supposed to be presenting to our member base as a proponent for Teams? I mean, I like Teams, but I feel like we're in this experimental stage and I don't know how to integrate it.
No, I mean, I think those are all really good questions. I mean, those are great questions. The thing is, I think there's a lot of people who don't use any one of those features in Sports Connect, which is interesting because when we talk to people, they're like, oh, I don't use Sports Connect. I don't use any of the features in Sports Connect,
Okay.
which is
Maybe
interesting.
this isn't the right forum for me then. I mean, I would encourage there maybe to be an outreach to large regions that are using Sports Connect on how do we take advantage of this? Because I'm a former regional commissioner and I'm kind of retired from that now, but our regional commissioner just said, oh yeah, and we're changing to Teams. He uses Teams at work, and it's like, let's just change to Teams. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
No, that was not, no.
I don't know how this is all going to happen. But again, I don't want to, I'm a huge, like, for those listening, Teams is awesome, but like, a lot of what we do is just with email. And so if this Teams offering doesn't include Outlook, and we get Gmail for not-for-profit, like, I don't see us leaving Gmail. And now I've got the ability for central file storage, ability for video conferences in Gmail, but I've got the opportunity to consider it in Teams, but I don't know why I would do that. And then the last part is really, like, so much of what Teams is could effectively replace the websites that Sports Connect presents.
Right.
Okay, right? And those are not well stylized, they're not customizable, they're not slick by any means. And I would much prefer to move to a Teams environment because I think it presents resources in a much more effective way. But yet the regions and the areas are all on the Sports Connect platform and the hierarchy, for all that, and so I don't know how to coordinate these. So I don't want to dominate this.
Oh no, but Adam, you're thinking, you actually like, there's a lot of things in there you're thinking ahead of some of the stuff that we're thinking in the future. So that's funny that you're actually seeing that. So, but yes, again, I think there's a lot more, here and stuff, and us speaking with Microsoft on a larger level as well for other stuff. But yeah, I would definitely think it would be worth a conversation for us to have offline, because we did speak to some of the larger regions, ones that are comparable to yours, that are using some of the attributes on Sports Connect like you are using, and but they were also interested in doing it for something for their large board, because they weren't using like a Google Workspace like you are. They were just using Sports Connect. So I think because you have that, it's probably a little different. They wanted to use it for very specific things. And I think that's the beauty of this right now, is that there's nothing mandatory here. And if it will address a pain point you currently have, and eventually maybe you move a bunch of stuff over there, that's what we want people to do, is to try it out and see if it's even something feasible for you. But yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
yeah.
Well, I see that some people would like to focus more on the practical
Yep.
elements for those without
Yeah.
current systems. So thank
Yeah.
you for your time.
Of
Sorry about
course.
that.
No worries. So I'm looking, I see questions in the chat, and the thing. So I'm just trying to look at the difference here. Mhm. All right. Let's see. So I just wanted to, so somebody had a question about using an approval function for documents. Is that, let's see, I'm not sure if that means a Teams option, or if you have to have the Power or SharePoint platform for approval documents that are added in.
Yeah, so there's no current approval document right now. So it's shared document within the community. You would just make a post to the community or upload it to the file section within the community. We are looking into adding permissions for the owner versus member in a role concept, and who can post what files where would be part of that.
Somebody asked if they're able to create a phone line.
Um, I don't know what like a phone line, like a phone number. Is that what you're talking about, Jeremy? So you can, yeah. So no. The answer is no. So there is no what's the term? PSTN. So in Teams for Work, you can create a number that actually like is a phone number that can that is sort of like a landline number. The calling ability is like all VoIP calling within Teams. So as a member of Teams, you can make calls to other members of Teams through the app. You can also schedule a call for members of your community, and they can join, similar to like how you joined the Teams webinar tonight, for all of us to be together. But you do not have an official phone line per se, and external people to Teams can't call into Teams with the free account.
Okay. So somebody asked about, they use Sports Connect for registration. So the worry would be all of our parents would have to opt into another platform. If it's something they could add into the registration process, they're curious, like, would we do that? Could that be possible through a link? Or is that something that we can connect to their registration?
Yeah, I think so. If you currently like provide information to people when they register, either through Sports Connect or otherwise, that's a great, idea about how to get members aware of your community. So like whenever they sign up, like having them send an email with a QR code to your community or the link to your community, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then there's an easy way to get them started upon registration.
Yeah, it wouldn't automatically like put them in a community, but it could be something that you could add in to say, hey, click this to have your, QR, you can QR code it right into them being able to add. So, but yeah, I don't, right now, what we could do, or what Esther and company could do, is export, if you had all of your people, you would just export that, database you have, and they could build one for you and invite everybody into that community right away. So again, we don't want to ever make it like they're forced into something, because clearly people don't want to do that. But if they, we could have, there's a way to put, you create your community, then have the link or QR code built right into that, or have it create it for you and upload for you. So question is, will there be a comment aspect to a document, i.e. upload a doc and then add comments to specific doc posting? Yes, right?
Yeah, so that's more of like a OneDrive, SharePoint, like Office Online question versus Teams. So like if you do use like Office Online or Excel Online or PowerPoint Online or any of the Office apps, like if you upload a link to a Word doc, there is that collaborative nature for Word docs online. So like, yes, you can. I'm pretty sure that you're able to do commenting and editing collaboratively if that document is a Word Online doc.
Should scroll through all the same the stuff. Oh, somebody did ask how soon for other versions of Windows.
Yeah. So this summer at the earliest is what I understand. So like between the summer and fall is what we're aiming for other versions of Windows. I think Windows 10 probably is like the most common. What we'll probably have in advance of that is a web experience, which will be universal. So it would be Mac, Windows, sort of any device in the interim.
Somebody asked, can you set up a video conference, and how is that done?
Yeah. So it's done in the community. You would create an event for that community. You would then select that event to be a virtual event, and then share that with your community, and anyone could join. So as the event creator, you are the owner of that event, and so you can edit it, you can change the time, you can have a lobby if you want to approve people coming into the event, or you can make it open so anyone could join. You just basically click add event, and you can create a video conference. And like I said before, like right now we don't have limits on events that are created within the community. And so that event could be, an hour, it could be 3 hours without us charging you, up to 36 hours. But I don't recommend you having a 36-hour web conference. Not great.
No one should ever.
Yeah, and right now the limit for that is up to 100 people for the event.
Somebody did ask about, is there an option to add over 100 participants for some meetings? Because one currently uses a paid Zoom option for their season kickoff meeting with all their parents.
And how many parents do you have for that?
And none. Do you have a number of like how many you can?
Actually, you know what? I think the number is not 300. Sorry, it's 300 people, not 100. Sorry.
Oh, 300. Okay.
Yeah, 300.
So if you have over 300 parents, then what would you do if you have over 300? I just asked that.
Yeah.
So they have 500.
They have 500.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, until we support more people, we can lean on AYSO's webinar capabilities. If you want to use Teams, it sounds like you do pay for Zoom, it sounds like.
Yes.
So, there might be an opportunity, Yvonne, to see if we could do a paid option, in that case for those larger groups.
Okay. Yeah, that's something to know. Yeah, because I think that over 300, right? Yeah, so we'll that's a good question. So we will put that. I have a meeting about other stuff early next week in regards to Microsoft. So that is a good question to note with them. Let's see. Trying to see other questions. Somebody did say don't see it being an option until early versions of Windows are supported. So, I mean, that's fair. We understand, so that, or they understand. I don't work for Microsoft. I don't know why I just said we, but but yeah, I mean that's a valid point, and it's why that's being expedited, or that's been kind of pushed, up. Again, feedback is really helpful for the team, for them to continue to make things a little bit more, rise them to the top. Let's see, Alan said if video conference is available, then I don't need paid Zoom anymore. No, not if you are just having small meetings, with your group. And like I think Esther said, who's allowed to create a video conference? Is it owner of event or of the group?
Sorry, you just broke up a little bit. Can you
Oh,
repeat
sorry.
that?
Is it the person allowed to create the video conference within the community? Is it the owner of the event or the owner of the group?
So anyone can create an event at this time. The person who can modify it or start it would be the creator of the event. In the future, we're bringing this concept of roles in, where certain roles, so like an owner, will have permissions to do certain things. So, like an owner will be the person who can create events or delete events, etc. But right now, anyone could create an event within the community.
Jason, yes, the idea is that we would like to move all of our the financial management mobile first, and that we could move them over into communities. Again, also for that. So we're looking to see if we can actually either export everybody and see if it's easy for us to set that up, or just create the community and QR code that for everybody that's currently in those communities. So we need to, or we're speaking with Paula about that in regards to like what makes the most sense, but also would help address some of the pain points that exist within the band channels too, of not being able to have the file management and links and all that kind of stuff that could all be categorized in at the top, as opposed to having to scroll through the whole thing. So let's see. AYSO national policy related disciplines. So yeah, I mean, I think that the questions about us migrating everything in regards to all of our policies and whatnot, um, that is a bigger conversation that we're having right now currently. So please stay tuned on that stuff. We wanted to start off with this option in the team's communities to make it something where this was an offer, again, like I said, to introduce this into our AYSO world, and then looking at a larger architecture for with Microsoft for AYSO in the near term. So that is something that we are currently working on. So Adam and I'm not sure, and Ivan, and thank you. I appreciate those questions. And yes, it would be great, Adam, Ivan, if you could be part of giving another round of feedback. Esther would welcome that. Would you welcome that as another opportunity to have another type of focus group, not necessarily a full breadth research, 3-month finding, info finding search. But again, having that type of feedback loop would be very valuable for us as we continue to make things a little more user friendly for everybody, and that we understand what you guys need. So let's see. All right. Yes, so we will, thank you, Brent. We will actually send everything to you guys after, just so you know. So all the stuff that here is in the QR codes and the links and stuff, but we'll also send it to you in an email format that helps you link out. The landing page that we created on volunteers has a lot of information as well, and is a fluid site that will continue to update. And this will actually live there as well, this presentation. So, but yeah, is there any other
Yeah,
questions?
and I just want to add to that too. If you join like the support community, or if you do create a community, and are on there, like I'm there on Teams all the time. So you have access to me through Teams or through AYSO or through the onboarding at outlook.com email, for any questions that you might have.
Yeah, no, and Esther's a great resource to have. And if you were at 11011, you may have met her. So she was there, very busy at her at her booth. There is a question for a specific community. Can I see who are the members, and can send a message to all or certain members?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see members through the, actually let me go back. I'll show you here. Through the settings tab. Where is that? So if I think we talked about the member roster here. Okay. So let me just, okay, here. Oh, look, that was perfect. Wait, oh no, where'd it go? Here, let's try it again. So I might have to hit pause. So if we go, where was that? I think I jinxed myself.
That's funny.
Oh, I switched. This was the coach. Okay. You're catching me at the end of the day, so the coffee is worn off. So Alan, here you are. If you can see the screen, this is in the settings tab. You can see the members here. So in this community, for example, is only 3 members, but you can see all of the members here. And who can see the members? You can see the members as the owner, as well as other members of the community can see the members. As the owner of the community, you can add members, and you can also kick members out. As a member of the community, you can only see the members. As far as sending messages to all members, if you want to send a message to all members, you would do that like within the community, like making a post. But if you want to send a message to a specific member, you could do that by like clicking on their name or creating a group chat. So you'll see at the bottom here, there's this home tab. That's where communities live. There's also this chat tab. And in the chat tab, there's the ability to send direct messages. So if you want to make a group of people and send a direct message, maybe to a subset of your community, you could do that. It's, as far as searching for these people, because you're a member of a community with certain individuals, those will appear in your suggestions, and it'll be easier to access when you're creating a group or a one-on-one chat.
Cool. Yeah, so I know that people are asking about the jersey sponsorship. So that is something that I have not officially announced yet. So we're working out all of the logistics on that. But Microsoft has expressed that partnership opportunity for us to have Microsoft be part of on the center of our jersey. When we have a national partner for our jersey sponsorship, which has not happened in a very long time, that is something where it is part of our, it is part of that sponsorship. It's something we want all of our members to take advantage of. And so, but there's also guidelines and manage expectations on that on both sides. So again, more details to come on that and like very soon. And it is something that we're excited about, and also the investment that Microsoft is making in AYSO and wanting to help grow the game and make sure that people have access that maybe don't have access right now, but also that we can help invest in where we currently are and make sure that we sustain and continue to grow. So, but again, yeah, that's something that just finalizing all details on to make sure that I can give you all the information and give that to you fully and correctly, and we can move forward over the next year or so in that. Check and see if there's any other questions in the Q&A.
I think maybe someone has a hand up. Adam Cole. Do you have any
No, I think
questions?
his is that.
Or is that from before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
from
was
before.
just from way before.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. Let's see. Just want to see if there's any other. I don't. Kind of just make sure I didn't skip over anything. Looks like is all the questions at this point. Again, this is something where if more come up, we definitely want you to send them over. And so definitely make sure that you have this email, record it down to email that. And most of you probably
the last page.
Yeah.
Oh no,
most everybody probably knows my email, which again, people just tend to send me stuff, even if it's the marketing@ayso.org. So, but yeah, definitely bookmark that email, bookmark these pages, sign up for these communities, and we'll send out this recording. We'll send out the links to all of the how-to guides as well. And if you are interested in creating one or wanting to start one, you could just do one and try it out for the fall, for the summer. Esther can help you with that and, see if you like it. And then again, if you're using it, your information and feedback is extremely valued, and hope, again, will help us continue to make sure that we are working with Microsoft to make the best product possible for you. If you want to use it, it is at your fingertips and is there for free and is there for you to use. So again, I thank everybody for joining tonight and being engaged and asking questions. And we hope that if you try this out, you enjoy it. But again, as we move forward, we will look for, growing our relationship with Microsoft on a grander scale is really our ultimate goal. And we hope that you will join us in that journey. But again, thanks, Esther, for all this. And thank you, everybody. And we will see you all very soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.